Hello people, this is Dr. Wang here recording. In this practice, we're going to calculate the index returns. The index could be the market index that contains hundreds and even thousands of individual stocks. And in this practice, we only have 3 stocks for simplicity. And these 3 stocks coming from your homework 1. And right here, you see their daily prices from 2022 all the way to 2023. All right, so you have a whole year of prices for 3 stocks. So I just assume the entire market or the entire portfolio is consist of these 3 stocks and 3 stocks only. Okay, and then I need to calculate the equal weighted return, price weighted return, and the market value weighted return for the entire index based on the 3 stocks. Okay, so the first thing I should do is to get the returns of individual stocks. So let me just insert sales. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. All right, and then I will just copy and paste the titles. Okay, so these are the stock's name. All right, and then I just need to follow the same old trick to calculate the return. So I'm going to use the later return divided by earlier return. Thankfully, these prices are ranked in ascending order. So from so the earlier ones are on the top, the later ones are down the bottom. Okay. All right, and make sure it is in percentage. Drag it, increase decimal. Okay, then double click to replicate the results. Okay, the equal weighted return is super easy. Just to use average and then select all of them and then get down. All right, and for the price weighted return, it is a little tricky because you will need to use the total price as the base, and each price here. It is fairly important for you to know that if you want to calculate the price weighted return for this day, February the 15th, the weight, the price weight you're going to use is the previous day's prices. Okay, so let me just do it in the fundamental way, or I call it the raw way, because this is pretty raw. We're gonna do a lot of calculations here. So I'm going to use APA's price, the price of the previous day, divided by the sum of all the prices. Okay, plus times APA's return in the next day, okay, or the current day, plus the his price divided by the sum. Okay, that's the weight, times has return. And you're gonna do the same for the last one, Foot Locker. And for Foot Locker, price divided by the sum. Okay, then multiplied by Foot Locker's return. Okay, just hit enter. Okay, and then you drag it all the way down. Well, you may find that if you keep doing that, and it's okay if you have only 2 or 3 stocks, but if you have 3,000 stocks, how could you do that? And you can't just click 3,000 stocks multiple times, right? So there is an easier way for you to do. So let me just insert another column, price weighted return. Okay, so I'm going to use each of the return, okay, for each stock multiplied by its own weight. And how do I get the weight? So I will use the prices, okay, each of the prices divided by the total price in the same day. Okay, and then multiplied by each of the return in the next day or the current day. Okay, so you're gonna have 3 products, and you're gonna add them up. You're gonna use a sum of a product function, add them up, and then do Control Shift down, Control Shift Enter. to Control-Shift-Enter to finish up. All right, so this way is much easier, but you should know that since it involves vectors of numbers instead of individual cells, to finish it, Control-Shift-Enter instead of just a single enter. And for this one, even though you got the same result, but you don't need to do the Control-Shift-Enter because you just utilize individual cells. All right, the next one is market-weighted return, and this one is a little bit more tedious, and you're gonna calculate the market value for all three stocks. And the market value is based on the stock prices and the shares outstanding. So let me just write this up. Market value is price per share times number of shares outstanding. Okay, so I'm going to insert 3 more columns here for me to calculate the market value. All right, so right here I gave you the shares, okay, the number of shares in millions of shares. To calculate the market value is pretty easy. So you just use each price for each stock times the stocks or the company's shares outstanding. All right, and then you just drag it all the way to the right. But when you drag it down, you will know that the shares row will be shifted. So that's a technical problem. So that's going to require you to lock the shares. Okay, lock them. All right, and then drag it all the way down. Okay, but the thing is, in reality, we have hundreds or even thousands of stocks in the market index. For example, NASDAQ contains 3,000 stocks plus. So in reality, if we have so many stocks, we can't just unlock one and lock another and keep doing that 1,000 times. So it's just too tedious. All right, so there is some way. Let me undo this or delete everything here. There is an easier way to do it. So you just select the entire row of outputs for market value. You use the prices multiplied by the shares, and the shares do not change from day to day. And then Control-Shift-Enter. Then you will have 3 numbers at output. Okay, so this is a much easier way to do the job. And when you drag it down, maybe double clicking does not work, you will get the same result as we did in the previous round. Okay, so it is the prices times the shares, and you're gonna use the price row times the shares row. Okay, and then do Control-Shift-Enter. And before that, make sure you select the entire output area and then put the multiplication. All right, so let me do it again. So it is the prices times the shares. Control-Shift-Enter. Okay, then Control-Shift-Enter. You get all of them. Okay, to get the market value weighted return, you just need to use the weights based on the market value. So you're gonna use each market value divided by the total, which is a summation of all the values here. All right, then multiplied by the returns of each stocks. Okay, close the parentheses, Control-Shift-Enter, and then drag it all the way down. So you will see that so far we have created 3 kind of index returns. One is equal weighted, okay, and another is price weighted, and another is market value weighted. Okay, you can see they come with different levels. You will see that the returns of the 3 stocks, they're at different levels. So if you just to get equal weighted, then the average is 1% for the 3 stocks. If you get a price weighted, you can see that for Hess, the stock is highest compared to the other 2. So then the price is dragged down because Hess has negative return. And for the market value, you will see that Hess market value is much larger in a larger extent compared to the prices. The market value for Hess is much larger than the other two compared to is the price compared is the price. Okay, and you will see then the price is further driven or more depending on the market return is more depending on Hess because Hess market value is much larger in a more extent. All right, so this practice is done. And the next one is actually simpler. So you're looking at 3 periods, and you are looking at the stocks. Okay, so these are the stock prices. Let me just change that so you don't get confused. Stock prices, and from 1999 to 2000 to 2001, and you will see the stock price goes up and then bounce back. All right, so if you want to calculate the time-weighted return, you will need to, it's just the expected return. So you have the return here. Okay, so you start with the next return. So the new minus the old minus 1, divided by the old minus 1. Okay, so from 200 to 600 it increased 2 times by 200%, and then from 200 to from 600 to 200 it decreased by 67%. Okay, the time value, the time weighted return is just the average of the two. Okay, as you can see, this is 67%, and this is based on the arithmetic way measure. You just simply take the average or the arithmetic mean. Okay, so if you take the geometric mean, you're gonna use the products of the two. It's one. Just do a geo mean, and then these two. Okay, these two plus 1. Sorry. And then minus 1 at the end. So this is covered in the first practice. And then this is more, the geometric mean is more realistic because from 200 and then get back to 200 after 2 years, the geo mean is 0%. It's less biased. It's more accurate, and the arithmetic mean is more accurate. No matter which method do you use, you have it's called a time-weighted return because the return in the 200% and the negative 67% are treated equally in the series of returns to calculate the mean. However, if you are calculating a dollar-weighted return, then you need to consider the investment amount you put in the stock. Okay, the investment amount you put in the stock. Let's say when the stock price is 200, you invest $100. When the stock price jumps to 600, you invest another $400. And when the stock price get to 200, you invest $0. Okay, so this is your investment story or your history, and this is the tracking record of the stock which you invested in. In order to get a dollar-weighted return, you will need to calculate your net worth. Okay, your net worth. All right, so when you start at $100, so how much do you invest? You invest 100. Okay, so your net worth at the very beginning in the year 1999 is $100, and then this $100 will increase by 200%. So it's $100 times 1 plus the 200%. Okay, so that's a happy moment. The $100 will turn to $300. Okay, after 200% increase from 1999 to 2000. And then you begin to invest in another $400 into the stock. And then your total net worth will be $700. And that's done. That's finished for this year. And then the next year, your investment shrink by 67%. So let's see how much you have left. Okay, so you're going to use 700 times 1 plus this negative 67%. Okay, and then this is how much money you end up with. Okay, $233 and $33. Okay, so your story is you start with $100, and then your $100 grows to $300. You add another $400. However, after another year, your total $700 gonna shrink to 1/3 of that. And what is your dollar weighted return? Then you will need to figure out your cash flow. Okay, your cash flow at the very start is negative 100, and then you invest in another 400 without claiming your profit. You just have another negative cash flows, and then at the very end you have a $233 left, and you're gonna cash it out. Okay, so this is your cash flow. And how do you get to the return? So you're gonna use IRR time including all this, so that's a negative of 48%. It is a pretty bad. Okay, you start with negative 100, then you invest another 400, and then you end up with 233. So your total return is actually negative 48.3. And the formula you used is called IRR. It's called internal rate of return based on the cash flows generated from this investment story. All right, and that basically will give you 0 net present value for your investment. That's a different story from your principal finance class, but you should know that internal rate of return is purely based on the cash flows, and that tells you how much return your gain or suffer from each year on average. Okay, and that is negative 48.3, and this number is much more consistent with our experience. You see, when the market is going up, we add more money into it. Then we lost a lot of money when the market is going down from 600 to 200, and we put out $100, another $400, and then after the market crash or the bubble bursted to the original level, then we end up with just a fraction amount of our investment. And this is how you calculate the dollar weighted return.